All right, I think we're live. This week we're going to do something a little different. I am going to teach your lesson live. So you get to see the same information, you get to hear the same story, but you get to see me do it live. So we'll add a couple of exciting little tidbits that go along with the lesson, and I'll be able to ask you guys questions, and you'll be able to respond. And I have my other device here so that we can write on the screen and take notes and do our Hebrew, and we're going to have such a fun time this morning. So, Boker Tov, so that means good morning. So if I say Boker Tov, you say Boker Tov and respond. So Boker Tov, good morning. Shalom Yelahdim, that means hello children. We are going to continue in with our series on Noah's Ark. Today we're in lesson 3. Now if you have the Bible Pathways information, then you know that there are 5 lessons. Well, I combined a few of the lessons together just so you guys could see how they work, and then you can always go back and fill in those lessons. But for this series, there will be about 4 lessons, not 5 in its totality. So parents, just be mindful. If you're following along with your Bible Pathways activity book, it may be slightly different, but we're going to cover all the same information, okay? All right, so today we are going to look at the Great Flood, part 3. But just as a recap, and let's see what our friends at home remember from last week's lesson. What was the last thing that happened in last week's lesson? Does anybody know? Good. Okay, so some of my friends remember. In last week's lesson, we covered Noah building the ark, being obedient to Yah, and Noah finding grace in the eyes of Yah. So, does anybody remember our Hebrew word from last week? Does anybody? Oh, somebody at home remembers. Yes, hen was our Hebrew word from last week, and it's the Hebrew word for grace. So Noah found grace, which means he was invited into Yah's protected place, and he was kept secure from the flood. So the last thing that happened in lesson 2, was that Noah and his family get on the ark, the fountains of the deep burst open, and Yah destroys everything on land, everything on the face of the earth. And Noah and his family are on the boat, and Noah prays to Yah, and Noah asks Yah, Yah, please help and keep my family safe through this storm. All right, so this week we get to see if Yah kept Noah and his family safe throughout the storm. Now, I know some of my friends at home probably have gone ahead and already know, but let's keep the suspense. That means let's keep it exciting for all of our friends that don't know what happens next. All right? But before we get started, now that we've done our recap, let's go ahead and do our Shema. This week, we're going to do it a little different. No video. You're going to repeat after me. And we're going to cover the first part of the Shema. Okay? So, get ready. All right. Shema Yisrael Yahuwah Eloheinu Yahuwah Echad Va'ahavta et Yahuwah Elohecha Bechol Levavcha Uvhol Nafshecha Uvhol Meodecha. In English it says, Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah your Elohim is one, and you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all of your resources. All right. That was really good. You guys are getting really good at that. We're going to have to add some more parts to that Shema, and then by the time we finish a few of our series, hopefully you've memorized the whole entire thing. Okay, so our theme for this week is Yah remembered Noah. Last week we saw that Noah found grace in Yah's eyes. But this week we have Yah remembered Noah. The word remember is a little different than it is in English. So I want you guys to first, before we get to our Hebrew portion, think about what might happen in our story if you have a previous knowledge base so that you can make inferences, Some of my friends at home may have heard those words in school. We're going to make inferences, meaning we're going to think about some things that may happen next in our story, make some predictions, and then see if we're right. All right? So what are some predictions that you have about what's going to happen next? And the way we're going to make our predictions is we're going to use inferences. We're going to use what we already know about the story, what has already happened, and then kind of think about what may happen next. And we're going to take our clue from our title, which is Yah remembered Noah. So take some time, discuss it with your parents or your friends or your brothers and sisters, and see what you guys can come up with. I'll give you a few seconds. All right, so I'm pretty sure you guys came up with some awesome things. Okay, so let's go ahead and read our psalm portion, and then we'll hop into our story. Our psalm this week is from Psalm 139. Can you guys repeat after me? Psalm 139. Psalm 139. Very good, very good. Our psalm this week says, O Yahuwah, you have examined me and know me. When I sit down or stand up, you know it. You discern my thoughts from afar. You observe my walking and my reclining, and are familiar with all my ways. There is not a word on my tongue, but that you, O Yahuwah, know it well. You hedge me before and behind. Does anybody know what hedge means? Let's just stop there for a second. One of the cool things about reading, and if you're reading at home, is that you can always stop and see what a word means. So hedge means to surround. It means to protect me. So sometimes when I go walking with my girls, or maybe when your parents go walking with you, they say, walk in front of me. Why do they do that? Seems kind of strange, right? What if you want to walk behind? The reason why parents do that, and the reason why the term hedge me is connected to this, is so that you are surrounded or watched by somebody that's bigger than you and knows when danger is coming. So King David in Psalm 39 is saying, you hedge me before and behind. You're watching the stuff that's happening in front of me and the things that are happening behind me. You lay your hand upon me. That's the end of verse 5. Verse 6. It is beyond my knowledge. It is a mystery. I cannot fathom it. I can't understand it. Where can I escape from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend up to heaven, you are there. If I descend down below to Sheol, you are there too. If I take wing with the dawn to come to rest on the western horizon, so if I go all the way far to the west, you are there also. And even there, your hand will be guiding me. Your right hand will be holding me fast. If I say, surely darkness will conceal me, night will provide me cover, surely I can hide in the dark and y'all won't see me. Darkness is not dark for you. Night is like day for you. And darkness and light are the same. It was you who created my thoughts in my mind. You made me in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am awesomely and wonderfully made. Your work is wonderful. I know it very well. My frame, my body was not concealed from you when I was shapen in a hidden place, knit together in the recesses or in the dark parts of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed limbs. They were all recorded in your book. In due time they were formed, to the very last one of them. How weighty your thoughts seem to me, O Yah. Like how big you seem to me, Yah. How great and how many you have. I count them. They exceed the grains of sand. I end, but am still with you. So that was an awesome song, and it kind of gives us some more inferences into our lesson. That psalm was handpicked for this lesson, thinking about how Yah remembered Noah. Maybe you guys are getting some clues about what the word remember means. All right, let's head into our lesson. It's going to be Noah's Ark, lesson 3. Yah remembered Noah. Finally, the rain stopped and the fountains of the deep closed. A gentle wind blew over the earth, and waves became calm as glass. So that you guys can see that. How is that for my friends at home? Is that a little better? I hope so. Everything was very quiet, but the boat was sitting on the water, and they were still on the boat. Noah and his family peered through the window at the muddy waters below. It was as though the whole earth had vanished, and beneath them they thanked Yah for keeping them safe. It feels like we've been on this ark forever, sighed Shem. When do you think the water will disappear? Noah smiled at his son. Don't worry, he said. YHWH hasn't forgotten about us. Just have faith. He will sort things out. Every day, Noah's family stared out the window to see if the water had disappeared. But every morning, the water still lapped against the sides of the ark. One day, as Noah and his family ate breakfast, they saw a piece of rock in the distance. The water must be going down, cried Noah, pointing to the rock. What? Said Shem as he and Ham rushed over to the window and stared at the dark, round mound. They almost couldn't believe their eyes. It's true. YHWH really hasn't forgotten about us. A few moments later, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah chose a large black bird called a raven and sent it out from the ark. Now, I read it to you guys from your storyline, but I want to read it to you from the scriptures so you can see a little more detail about what happened in Noah's story. So we're going to start at Noah. We're going to start with Noah at Genesis chapter 7, and we're going to cover up to the same point, and then we'll continue with our story. So it's Genesis or Bereshit chapter 7, verse 17. And it says, the flood continued for 40 days on the earth, and the waters increased and raised the ark so that it rose above the earth. The waters swelled and increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark drifted upon the waters. When the waters had swelled much more upon the earth, all the highest mountains everywhere under the sky were covered. 15 cubits higher did the waters swell, as the mountains were covered, and all the flesh that stirred on earth perished, birds, cattle, beasts, and all the things that swarmed upon the earth, and all mankind. All in whose nostrils was the merest breath of life, all that was on dry land died. All existence on earth was blotted out. Man, cattle, creeping things like spiders and crickets, and birds of the sky, they were blotted out from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. And when the waters had swelled on the earth 150 days, Yah remembered Noah, and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And Yah caused a wind to blow across the earth, and the waters subsided. So that's how in our story that we have from Bible Pathways, it tells that Noah began to see murky water and a mound in the distance. The fountains of the deep and the floodgates of the sky were stopped up, and the rain from the sky was held back. The waters then receded steadily from the earth. At the end of 150 days, the waters diminished, so that in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Let's keep going with this story and then we'll pick up with our other one. The waters went on diminishing until the 10th month. That means they kept going down until the 10th month. In that 10th month, on the first of the month, the tops of the mountains became visible. Could you imagine finally seeing land after all that time? At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made and sent out the raven. It went to and fro until the waters had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see whether the waters had decreased from the surface of the ground. But the dove could not find a resting place or a place to stop, so the dove returned back to the ark, for there was water all over the earth. So putting out his hand, he took into the ark with him the dove. And he waited another 7 days and again sent out the dove from the ark. The dove came back to him toward evening, and there in its bill was a plucked off olive leaf. Then Noah knew that the waters had decreased on the earth. He waited still another 7 days and sent the dove forth, and it did not return to him anymore. Scrambling to their feet, the animals yawned and stretched. They had been on the boat for a long time. And they could hear the stir of Noah telling his children that they had found land. They had found land because that dove had gone out and found that olive branch. And then the next time the dove went out, it didn't come back because that means that it was able to rest its feet. So Noah and his family were kept safe throughout the flood, and they were able to finally know that Yah had remembered them. So what do you guys think about that? That was pretty interesting. Noah had been on the ark that whole time. What was interesting about the two birds is one bird went out looking and looking. So if you don't know anything about a raven is a type of bird that is a scavenger. A raven is not clean. If you haven't done the clean and unclean activity from these lessons, it would be a good time or a good thing for you guys to incorporate into today's activities. We have some for today, but I want you to know a raven is not clean. So a raven is considered a scavenger bird. And what ravens do is that they look for dead things and they go down and they find them and they eat them. Well, the raven looked all over and there was still water and no one knew it because the raven was not doing its function of scavenging, looking for whatever had died and then cleaning up those pieces from the earth. If you don't know, and if you haven't learned this part of the lesson, remember Noah took on the boat 2 of every unclean animal and 7 of every clean animal. The reason why Noah took unclean animals, because I'm sure some of you at home who eat a clean diet, we're like, why would he take those? Why wouldn't he just let those die? Why wouldn't he just let the pigs die? Well, the reason why Noah took those animals on the boat as well is because they have a function. The unclean animals have a function as well on the earth, and their job after the flood was to clean up anything that was left behind from the flood. So that means any dead animals or anything else that was left dead on the face of the earth, those animals are supposed to clean it up. I just want to drop a little nugget, and this may be maybe a little bit different for children, but even for parents, you can probably explain this a little further. But later on, people have the idea that when Noah gets off the boat, Yah's going to tell him that he can eat anything as a green herb. And some people think that that means that he can eat anything that he wants. That would probably include pigs and other things. But that wasn't Noah's mindset. Noah was very, very intelligent, and Noah understood and obeyed Yah. And so Noah, after living on a boat for almost 200 days with these animals, understood their function very clearly. And he understood what was clean and what was unclean, but that it all had a function. Now, if Noah would have got off the boat and began eating the animals that were eating the dead things on the ground, don't you think that would have been something a little weird? Yeah, me too. I don't think Yah was telling Noah to eat the animals that were eating the dead animals that had died in the flood off the ground. Yah was telling Noah to continue with the diet of clean things, the green herbs and the plants, that those things were still good to eat even after the flood. Just a little nugget I wanted to drop in there for you guys. All right, let's do our Hebrew word for remembered. I'm going to write it on the screen, and you guys at home can follow right along with me so that you can learn this as well. This was Jade and I's lesson for the other day, learning about sentences. Nobody's scared. All right, so the Hebrew word for today is the Hebrew word zakar. I'm going to turn the screen so that you guys can get a close look at what we're doing, and hopefully you can grab a piece of paper and follow along. All right, so our word for today is the word zakar. Let's see, I'm sure I have a friend at home whose favorite color is purple. So I'm going to use purple for my first letter. All right, so my first letter is a zayin. Say zayin, zayin. First letter is a zayin, and it looks like a mattock. Can you guys say mattock? A mattock is a weapon, and it's used for plowing. Okay, and you would kind of hold it in the middle, and you can cut stuff, or it could be used as a plow, and it would go behind an animal to drive or to dig lines in the ground. So can you say zayin? Let's write that again so you guys can follow along with me. So we're going to start with a line across the top, kind of like a little rainbow, hint, hint, a straight line down, and then a line across the bottom. That's how you're going to draw your zayin. Zayin. Okay, and it's a picture of a plow or a weapon or to cut. Okay, our next letter is a kaf. Can you guys say kaf? Kaf. And it looks like this. And these are all pictographs. The reason why we're using pictographs for you guys at home is because pictures are very easy to remember. As we move on through our lessons and as you guys learn at home and you get familiar or used to the pictographs, we'll go on to Paleo and Modern Script. Paleo, so that you know what it looked like when Noah was reading, and Modern Script, so that you can pick up and read the books that are available in print today. Alrighty? Alright, this is a kaf, and it represents the palm of your hand or to open. So the palm of your hand or to open. Let's go back and draw it again, and you guys at home can follow along with me. It looks like a giant U. And then inside of the U, we're going to make two lines. They don't attach all the way to the bottom, but it almost looks like if you look at your hand where your fingers are open, and if you were to curve them a little like this, it kind of gives you that idea of 4 fingers right here, and then this part of your hand, like your palm. Okay, that's kaf. It's the palm of your hand or to open, okay, or to bless. The next one is resh. Resh for our word zakar. 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 And resh is the head of a man. I'm going to change it because I know some of my friends at home like blue. And a resh looks like the head of a man. That's a silly looking man. Let's go back and fix our man's face. Let's see if Miss Huldah can get it together. No, that's a silly man too. Let's try it again. Maybe he needs different hair. We're going to try it again. Okay, what about this hair? Let's see if this will work. Okay, it's still silly, but it works. That is a resh. It's the head of a man first, or the highest or the top of something. So man or head or first, okay? So then our Hebrew word all together, let's write it in. We're not going to go back and write the resh. I'm sure you guys can make some interesting heads all on your own. So I'm sure I have a friend at home that probably likes a different color. So let's go with, who likes like a golden orange color? Let's use that. And so we have the Zion, which is the plow, weapon to cut off. We have the Kaf, which is the palm of the hand, or to open. That looks like a smiley face. Okay, let's move it down. There we go. And we have the Resh, the head of the man. Let's see how this one comes out, guys. Bear with me. Okay, he's silly too. Zion Kaf Resh means Zakar, and Zakar is the Hebrew word for remember. Now, just with those letters, you might not understand what remember means. But in Hebrew, the word for remember means to speak well of or to act on one's behalf. So for the children at home, that means that Yah didn't forget Noah. Yah had Noah built this boat, and Noah was the only person in his family, were the only people alive. He didn't go, oh no, Noah's out there. Let me turn from playing video games and go find Noah. Absolutely not. But sometimes when we say he remembered, we think he forgot. Yah did not forget Noah. What happened is Zakar. It meant that Noah had stayed on Yah's mind. It meant that Noah was so important to Yah that he had plowed him or drawn a deep line of remembrance into his line. And when the time was just right, when it was just perfect so that Noah would be safe, Yah began acting on his behalf. When Yah had completed or finished everything that he was doing, that he said he would do when causing the flood, he then turned and then was able to do what he said he was going to do on behalf of Noah. Sometimes it feels like Yah does forget, but he doesn't. Yah is holding the whole world and everything in it in the balance and still keeping us on his mind. We see that with Noah, and we saw that in our psalm earlier. In Psalm 139, where it says, where can I go that you won't see me? Can I hide in the dark? Can I be on a boat in the middle of the water full of animals and you not see me? Of course not. Yah knew he was there, and Yah had to make sure that he stopped up the fountains of the deep, and that he closed up the fountains in the sky, and that he sent a wind over the earth so that the waters could begin to go down, and that everything could be safe. And then he let Noah know, I remember you. I haven't forgotten you. I can't forget you. You're too important to me, and everything that I've been doing up until this point has been for you and your family. From having you build the boat to sending the animals to you, everything has been for you. We know that Yah is faithful, and we know that he keeps us in mind. We just have to trust that his plan is going to work out. Just because things may seem a little rocky in the beginning doesn't mean that Yah hasn't sought out or gone out to make sure that he completes the plan for us. Okay? So I have a couple of quick facts because Miss Huldah likes a little bit of science, and the observational evidence part of science is super, super cool. So we're going to learn a couple of things about fossils, because fossils are awesome. Okay, so we're going to learn about fossil graveyards, and if you don't have the sheet, I'll put it in the link below, and so the children can go back over it for parents at home. But I'm going to go over it here today, just so you guys can get an idea of fossils, because a lot of fossils were created during the flood period. Okay, that's why certain lands are rich with oil and other things, because what happens is with the water up so high, as it began to recede, things began to get pushed down, and then dirt got on top, and they were pushed down. So if you don't have it, it's called fossil graveyards. I'll put it in the description box, and you guys can download this worksheet. Okay? Billions of fossils can be found in fossil graveyards all over the world. In many cases, they have been carefully preserved. These fossil graveyards often have a mix of sea and land creatures, perhaps proving that there was once a flood on the entire earth. One of the coolest ones is on the top of Mount Everest. For people that have climbed there and found fossils, people have found seashells. Didn't we just read that water had gone above the mountains? It's kind of cool, right? So, for example, fossil jellyfish have been found in the Australian outback, and fossilized shellfish have been found in high in the Himalayas. Most of the rock layers in the walls of the Grand Canyon, more than a mile above sea level, also contain marine fossils or sea fossils. Near Chicago, more than 100,000 fossils representing more than 400 different types of animals or species were discovered at one site. The fossil graveyard included ferns, which are plants, insects, scorpions, and jellyfish, and even other types of fish species. So what happens with fossils, and I'll draw a little picture for you guys, is that with fossils, they get pushed down further and further. So if you can imagine, this would be us looking at the soil under. And so this is the soil. I'll draw a block out. And then there would be levels, like this. And then this is the grass, right here up top. The newest stuff would be at the top, like the grass. This is the new. And this is the old. And this is the stuff right in the middle. Okay, so down here, there would probably be some shells, right? Like that. And then there might be some fish, bones down here in this area. And then you might just see a regular bone, like a leg bone of some sort of animal. And then there might be another fish bone that maybe your cat ate and dug and put underground. So people would find things from long ago. People have even found things all the way back, dating back toward Noah's Ark and those days. And so it leads people to understand that there was some great catastrophe where all the water on the earth had been brought all the way up and covered the whole earth. You'll even learn about that in school. They may not call it the flood, but it's the same exact thing. The whole earth was covered with water, and it caused all these things to be pushed down to all these different levels. I thought that was pretty cool. If you at home want to go over that sheet, I will remember to put it up. Alrighty, I hope that you guys enjoyed the lesson. It was so fun sharing with you all today. It was awesome to have you guys live and in the space. And to just know that you guys are learning at home brings me great joy. I wanted to do this lesson this way for you parents at home especially, so that you guys can see different ways that you can take the lessons I'm teaching and add your own elements to them, teach them to your children, make them exciting, add your readings, use the slides. Any of this information is available to you if you're at home and you're a homeschooling parent and you need resources or need to know how to incorporate these lessons into your existing homeschool curriculum. Email me. My email is Huldah Dauid at herroyalroots.com. I'll also place it in the comments. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I'll also put the memory verse in the comments for parents at home that are doing the memory verse with their children. Until next time, shalom.